For centuries, we've been told a pretty clear story about how civilization began. But what if that whole story is wrong? What if the thing that sparked civilization wasn't farming, but something, I don't know, a little more mysterious? Well, today we're looking at a discovery that's forcing us to rethink, well, pretty much everything about our own past.
So picture this, a remote hilltop in southeastern Turkey. This is Gobekli Tepe, and right off the bat, you're looking at the central puzzle. This was never a city or a village where people lived. No, archaeologists are certain this was a place of worship. It was a holy place, a cathedral built on a scale nobody had ever seen before.
And its age, it's just staggering. This place is about 11,000 years old. To put that into perspective for you, this was built at the tail end of the last ice age.
Now, here's what's truly mind-blowing. It's who built it. These weren't some advanced civilization with amazing technology. The people who built this hadn't even invented pottery yet, let alone metal tools. They were hunter-gatherers chipping away at these massive stones with nothing more than flint.
Just think about Stonehenge for a second, right? That icon of the ancient world. Gobekli Tepe is 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. The gap in time between Gobekli Tepe and Stonehenge is actually longer than the time between Stonehenge and us right now. Just let that sink in.
So how in the world did Stone Age people pull off something this incredible? Well, the story of his discovery is where we start to piece this impossible puzzle together. For decades, archaeologists just walked right past this hill, dismissing it as probably a medieval cemetery. But then, in 1994, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt decided to take a second look. And he saw something everyone else had missed. He realized those weren't just old gravestones. They were the tips of something much, much older peeking through the dirt.
So as Schmidt and his team started to dig, the true scale of this place just exploded out of the ground. They uncovered these enormous T-shaped pillars, some of them towering 16 feet high, weighing up to 10 tons. And they weren't just randomly placed. They were arranged in these huge, perfect, sophisticated circles. But these builders didn't just move stone around. They brought it to life. The pillars are just covered in these breathtakingly detailed carvings of animals. I mean, look at this. You can see these powerful, menacing lions practically leaping out of the stone.
And it wasn't just lions. We're talking vultures, snakes, spiders, scorpions, all crawling across the surfaces of these ancient pillars. It's this fantastic and, to be honest, kind of scary menagerie of wild beasts.
Then you have pillars like these. They're different. They seem to be beings. If you look closely, you can see arms and hands carved right into the sides. So what are we looking at here? Stylized people? Ancestors? Maybe even their gods? We just don't know for sure.
So okay, a massive, sophisticated temple built by hunter-gatherers. That's already incredible. But what the archaeologists didn't find there is just as important as what they did. As they kept digging, they noticed something weird. There was no evidence of anyone actually living there. No houses, no cooking fires, no garbage dumps, nothing. And the tens of thousands of animal bones they found? All from wild game, like gazelles and boar. No domesticated farm animals anywhere. All of this evidence pointed to one absolutely stunning conclusion. This architectural marvel wasn't built by some settled farming society. It was built by roaming bands of hunter-gatherers who came together from who knows how far away for some profound shared purpose.
And this is where Gobekli Tepe just completely flips the script on how human civilization got started.
So, the story we all learned in school goes like this, right? First, people invent farming. Then, because they have to stay put to tend their crops, they form settled communities. And only then, once they're settled, do they develop complex society and big ideas like religion. But Gobekli Tepe suggests the total opposite. It suggests the shared belief, the desire to build this massive temple came first, and the huge challenge of organizing and feeding all those workers that might have been the very thing that forced them to invent agriculture and permanent settlements to begin with. As Stanford archaeologist Ian Hodder puts it, the revolution happened in their minds first. The shared culture, the need to organize to build something sacred, that was the real spark for civilization. It's an incredible idea. Religion might have actually invented the farm.
Okay, so we have this game-changing theory for how this all happened. But that just brings us to the biggest question of them all. Why?
I mean, really think about it. What belief, what idea, what fear could have been so powerful that it motivated people to do this? To quarry and haul 10-ton stones from miles using the most primitive tools imaginable?
Well, one theory is that it was all about confronting fear. The carvings are just dominated by dangerous predators, lions, spiders, snakes, not the animals they were hunting for dinner. So maybe this temple was a ritual space, a place to symbolically tame and master a terrifying world. Another popular theory zeroes in on all the vulture carvings. In a lot of ancient cultures around here, vultures were seen as sacred. They were thought to carry the flesh of the dead up to the heavens. This has led some researchers to believe that Gobekli Tepe was the center of a huge, powerful death cult.
And Klaus Schmidt, the archaeologist who discovered it, he personally believed the site was all about death and burial. He imagined it as this grand mortuary complex. He said the dead were placed there to look out over this incredible vista, which at the time was a paradise teeming with wild game. Literally, a hunter's dream for the afterlife.
But whatever its true purpose was, the full story of Gobekli Tepe is nowhere near being told. And you know, maybe the biggest secrets are the ones that are still buried.
Get this. Everything we've seen, all these monumental circles and incredible carvings, that's less than 5% of the entire site. Ground-penetrating radar shows that there are at least 16 more of these massive stone rings still buried under that hill. Just waiting. I mean, archaeologists could dig here for another 50 years and probably still not uncover it all. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most haunting mystery of all. After using this temple for over 1,000 years, the builders did something unbelievable. They intentionally buried it. They covered their own sacred creation with millions of cubic feet of earth, preserving it perfectly for us to find. But why? Why would they entomb their own cathedral? That's a question we may never, ever be able to answer.